What is up, everybody? We are now live on Instagram. This would be episode 100 of the BFS Live podcast. We're doing a Q&A, AMA kind of deal. So anyone can feel free to ask a question or even request to join the show for some time to have a good time. And in today's episode, we're going to recap all the episodes. We've had 100 episodes, so we're going to talk about, I'm going to mention every guest. What up, James, in the chat? We're going to talk about the growth of this channel. I have some announcements for new merchandise. And then we're going to talk about the long-term goals of the skate park, kind of, where we're going from here. So again, this is a Q&A, AMA. Anyone feel free to ask a question. You can even request to join the show if you'd like. This is episode 100. We're streaming live from the skate park. It is Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for our post listeners who are going to listen to this or watch it. I'm going to have a drink because we have 100 episodes. We've done it, guys. So first and foremost, I'm going to go down the list of everyone we've been on the show since we started the format. Previously, this show had been called Breaking Free Speech. When it was Breaking Free Speech, it was not a live show. It was kind of a way for me to disseminate information that entails every episode from 1 until like 65, going back 7 years. So they're random episodes, me explaining stuff at the skate park and whatnot. At the 8-year anniversary of the skate park, back in this past December, we did a live show where we had multiple guests come in and just talk about the skate park. And that was the catalyst to start the show in this format, a weekly interview style show. And from there, we've had an episode every week, except for the week I was on vacation in May, and we've had 30 guests. It's pretty crazy. First question in the chat, Tommy P. His question: have you ever had a chance to spend time at Woodward? I really have not been to Woodward. I was really poor growing up. Woodward was not an option for me. Also, Woodward was nothing like it is now when I was a kid. I had one brief chance to go to Woodward in my early 20s. One of these weekend trips you can go to Woodward. We stayed in some old house Woodward owned in town, and you got to ride Lot 8 and Cloud 9. And if you're familiar with my ramp riding abilities, it's not a lot for me in those two places. The Resi Spine was really cool. I mean, this had to be 2007 maybe. It's a long time ago. But thank you, Tommy, for the question. Woodward is sick, and I'm sure you love it, and I think everyone that goes there loves it. I don't think anyone that goes to Woodward doesn't love it, because Woodward's freaking crazy. Anyone else has any questions, feel free to ask away. So let's go down the list of the guests we've had, going back to December week by week. Shout out everyone that's been on the show. Shout out all our viewers. Many times people who are in the live chat end up being guests, which is really cool. So shout out to all you guys. Our first guest on the show, going way back, was Blaze. Blaze is a longtime friend of the skate park. His dad used to own RASP. He's been here multiple times because he's been on the BFS fam shows we've done a few times. Our second guest was randomly a friend of mine, Pat. He used to ride BMX. He hasn't rode BMX in a long time, and he had some interesting perspectives because many people ride, or at least people that engage with my content, still ride. Pat had an interesting perspective because he rode and then stopped riding. So his in his mind, like, BMX just stopped around the 2002 or something. So interesting perspective. The early days of the show, if you want to go back to those earlier episodes, we were really trying to nail down the history of skate parks in Rochester. So a lot of those early episodes, we really were bouncing around those topics because there's a long storied history of skate parks in Rochester. So in our third episode during this generation of the show, we had Jimmy Rathbun on, and he'll be back on the show. He's been around forever. We talked about skate parks. After that, we had Zippy on. Zippy is the master ramp builder. He built that vert ramp out in Bergen, if you guys have seen that thing. He does all the ramp work for Black Mamba in Syracuse. He moved the ramps to their new location. He helped build this place. He's helped me with many ramp projects. Zippy has built RASP. He built Extremes 1. He rebuilt Extremes 2. He's been around forever. He had a lot of perspective, and that was awesome. I love Zippy. He'll certainly be back on the show. After that, we had Nick Parlett on, plumbing skater. That's really fitting. He gave me all the framework to start to try to grow my channel the way I have over the last year. Everything I'm doing is really based on him. He checks in with me with my content. This is good. This is bad. I like that. I don't like that. Just keep doing this. And I tell you what, it's a real grind. Posting a video almost every single day is so hard. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work just to think of the videos you want to post, let alone making the videos. And in the early months of my channel, I did see a lot of growth, and the channel really has plateaued since then, which is frustrating because it feels like all that work is for nothing. But it is what it is. After Nick, I had my first show where I tried to do more than one guest, and it was a complete disaster. This is all super DIY. Everything I do at the skate park is very DIY. I did not have the right equipment to do multiple guests. It was an absolute train wreck, and that didn't work. But that was Reanimate. They come back on later. We'll touch back on the Reanimate guys a little bit later. After Reanimate, we had Montana Ricky on, who's a staple in the BMX world. Interesting episode. Very passionate guy. A lot of very nuanced talk about BMX. That's an episode that if you really love BMX, it's a great listen. If you don't follow the BMX industry, don't even bother because it's very, very BMX specific. After the Montana Ricky episode, I had on Alan Prizzuti, who is now a co-owner of Crudco, has been involved with Crudco, the skate shop, from nearly the beginning, which has been about 30 years, which is just unbelievable. Alan is very passionate. He shares a similar vision with me about keeping the action sports alive. I really think that's where we all need to be right now to keep. Frankly, action sports seem to be drying out on the vine. And if we're not reaching out to riders and kids and new people keeping these sports alive, it's going to be a long, tough ride if we're not trying to reach kids. Alan will certainly be back on the show. We're in discussions. He's been on the board for the Friends of the Rock City Skate Park, which has gotten the skate park built in downtown. I'm also on that board. He's going to come on the show, and we are going to do a full episode on the history of the Rock City Skate Park to give people a framework of just how hard it's been, and what pieces have to fall in place to get an outdoor park built, because it's not an easy task. And when we did it, it was really the first one in the area, and it really has paved the way for parks like Parrington and Greece and Medina to really get there, because there's a framework. There's like an understanding of what happens. So that's going to be great. After the Allen episode, we had on Scott Mackay. Scott Mackay is the president of GROC, which is our local mountain bike advocacy group. He talked about his vision of being the president and the expansion, or at least stewarding of local shared use trails, which very much overlaps with the skate park community, because many skateboarders and bikers do mountain biking. That was a fun episode. I know Scott is a listener of the show, and I'm sure Scott will listen to this, so thank you. After Scott, we had a family episode, and this is kind of like our BFS family episodes. Every so often I do one of those, and it's kind of a recap. It's more of a casual show. Much of my shows are these kind of locked-in interview style shows. This is a more laid back. Anyone in the chat is welcome to ask questions. You may even request to join the show if you'd like. We'll bring you right in, and we could have a little chat. Everyone gets their 2 minutes of fame. In that episode, with that family episode, we did talk about how things have not really gotten much better at the skate park, and things really have not changed since then. But we'll talk about that after we finish going down this list of guests. After that, we had on Aaron from Crudco, the owner of Crudco Skate Shop. 30 years, it's incredible. What a great conversation. To be frank, Aaron and I, prior to that, we weren't really friends. It's not like we disliked each other. We hardly knew each other. And we've both been around for so long. And when two people are in the same scene for so long and they never really kind of get to have that conversation, it almost feels like there's tension. And the second we started talking, Aaron and I hit it off really well. There are not a lot of people who've been in action sports as long as Aaron and as long as I have, and many of you people. But there is a difference between the people who are just riding in action sports and the people who are the the staple that holds the page together. In that episode with Aaron from Crudco, man, we really hit it off. It was like that scene in Step Brothers. Did we just become best friends? It was freaking awesome. Aaron will certainly be on the show again. The wealth of knowledge that gentleman has after owning a skate shop for 30 years is prolific. After the Aaron episode, we had the Reanimate guys back on. The Reanimate guys, they run a Christian skateboarding nonprofit. They ultimately helped me put together a summer camp. Well, no, they put together the summer camp to rebuild our mini ramp. So everyone, this coming winter, when you ride my nice, smooth, fresh mini ramp, you can thank Reanimate. You go back through all those videos. I tagged every video. Thank you to Reanimate for helping us rebuild the mini ramp. And that show was right before Wrench Fest, so it was also like our Wrench Fest preview show. So Wrench Fest back in March was the busiest day the skate park has ever had. We had over 200 people come in. It was an incredible day. Thank you so much for everyone that came in. Awesome. After the Reanimate episode, we had on Sean Danek. He is a local mountain bike rider. That was a great episode. We talked a lot about in that episode about what it's like being a dad, having little kids, and how to still have fun while having little kids, which is something I see far too often. People get overwhelmed with having kids, and that episode, to put it in a nutshell, was like, do the damn thing. If you're checking into this live stream, if you got kids and you seem like it's a lot of work to do this, just do the thing. Pack the lunch, load up the car, bring the Band-Aids, pack up the bikes, whatever it is, and just go do the thing. You will, I'm promising you, you're not going to remember your kids not getting along or the crying or whatever happens, but you will remember that trip you took when your kids were 5 and 6 and you went to the bike park or you went to whatever. So just get out there and just do the thing. After Sean Danek was an episode, we had Kevin Dane Willard, a longtime friend of BFS. He helped build the skate park. That episode was unlike any other episode we've had. It was hilarious. Kevin does stand-up comedy. Kevin does skit comedy. And he came in here, and that was a hilarious episode. Totally different vibe. Kevin, if you hear this, I love you. You're the man. Can't wait to have you back on the show. Kevin's also super opinionated and also hard to tell when he's being serious or being unserious, which makes everything really interesting. After Kevin Willard, we have Nick Gugino on the show. Nick is he's in school for engineering. He's a welder, and he is the head trail builder at Thunder Mountain in Massachusetts. Thunder Mountain in Massachusetts is a bike park, and a bike park is basically take a ski slope, and in the summertime they make jumps and berms and all kinds of crazy stuff, and you have a good time. Nick is a very young, highly motivated guy. That is an inspirational episode. If you're anywhere between 17 and 25 or even older and you want to get in gear, great episode. Go back and listen to it. After that, we had Tanner Jensen on. Tanner got sponsored at a really young age, and Tanner just shared his experience about what it was like being sponsored at 15 years old. Interesting episode, worth a listen. After that, we had Lorenzo Lacorte on. Lorenzo is a scooter rider. He was the first scooter rider, at this point, I think the only scooter rider who's been on the episode, That episode did get a lot of views on YouTube because there's probably not a lot of long-form content with scooter riders. Great episode. He made this great analogy about how scootering is like the punk rock of action sports because no one likes the scooter kids. They're the rejects. Everyone in action sports used to be the rejects, but now we're all cool, and the scooter kids are like the rejects of the rejects who are no longer rejects. So I loved it. Fantastic. After that, we had Tom Endy on the show. Tom Endy is of the Endy Brothers. They're a musical acoustic duo. They play weddings and what do they play? Breweries. That's the word I'm thinking of. They play breweries. They played at Wrenchfest. They're also awesome skateboarders. Tom came on the show, and it was honestly, this is episode 86. It was actually one of my favorite episodes because half the show was like a preview for Canal Side Skate Jam, which is an event that they run. And the other half of the show, he interviewed me. So if you actually want to get a little more insight into me, the person, that is the episode. Because while I do put my 2 cents in many episodes, that one you really kind of got to go behind the curtain a little bit and talk about my childhood and where I came from. So, cool. After that, we had on Stevie Palo. We talked about hip-hop music and rap, and kind of a through line between action sports and that. Fun episode. After that, we had on Jack Seeley. Jack Seeley was another young rider who got sponsored at a young age, and he just shared his experience, what it was like. Unlike the episode with Tanner and Jaden, who came after the next episode, Jack's sponsor was in another state, so he never even met these people who started sponsoring him and sending him bike parts and everything. So he just explained his experience. Jack is a really nice guy. We all miss him because he moved, although he'll be moving back soon because he's going to college here for engineering. Next, we had on Jaden. Anyone who's been with the channel from the beginning will recognize Jaden Mucha. He was part of this YouTube channel from the very beginning. Jaden ended up traveling the world, riding in BMX contests. He was sponsored by Kink. He just explained, what it was like to go to the Vans Cup in Malaga, Spain, or to go to the Vans Cup down in Mexico City, and just being young and sponsored, and that was a great episode. Jaden's the man. I miss you, homie. After Jaden, we had on Matt Smith. Matt Smith is a artisan. He's from the background. His background is BMX, and he makes stem pads. He calls them stem buddies. They go over the stem on the bike so you don't hit your knee, or when you hit your knee, it doesn't hurt as bad. He also makes crossbar pads. He hand stitches these in his house. He is like a small business, a very small business embedded in a very small industry, which is BMX, and just kind of him talking about what he does with his product, how he makes his product. It's really cool. After that was probably our biggest episode. We had on Jay Rowe. Jay Rowe is the team manager of Kink Bike Company. They are arguably one of the biggest BMX brands in the world. Certainly, almost likely the biggest one in America. They're definitely the biggest rider-owned company in America. The through line here is that Jay Rowe was the team manager of Kink, and both Tanner and Jaden, who previously were on the episodes of this show, talked about their experience riding for Kink, which means they were managed by Jay Rowe. So Jay Rowe had reached out to me, and he wanted to come on the show and kind of tell the other side of what it's like to be a team manager for a multi-million-dollar action sports company, and what goes into, who gets to pick, what type of riders are on a team. Do they make Instagram content? Do they make long format content? That J-Row episode was really awesome if you want to get a look behind the curtain to see what's happening in at least BMX or action sports more broadly. After the J-Row episode, we had another family episode where myself and Blaze and Kyle sat down and we talked a little bit about these other episodes. We talked about what's going on at the skate park, casual, laid-back fun. Those episodes usually get a good amount of views. After the family episode, we had Greg Lang on. Greg Lang was part of the Crudco skate team back in the day. His name had been brought up on previous episodes with Alan and with Aaron and maybe one of the other older guys. So he reached out, he wanted to be on the show, and we just talked about what skateboarding was like in the early 2000s. Greg Lang. I wasn't in Rochester in the early 2000s, but everyone I talked to who talks about the early days of Crudco and Greg Lang and just what they were doing. And it was just awesome to have Greg on the show. He was talking about the jams at the old Crudco location and just filming parts, and that was a fun episode. If you're a skateboarder and you want to get into the nitty gritty of that, go back to that Greg Lang episode. Now we're getting into episodes within the last 2 months, and we started to the vibe switched, and we really started to talk to other skate park owners. And these episodes were really fun for me because I own a skate park, and there's like 7 people that do that. So getting to talk to 5 of the 7 people was a really good time. So first we had on Mike Potosny. They're opening they're opening Woods Room, a bike park in Pittsburgh. Fantastic episode. Highly recommend listening to it. His mentality about the growth of the sport, getting kids, reaching kids as the avenue in which we grow action sports was completely on the money. I agreed with everything he said. That was a phenomenal episode. Check it out. After that, we had on John from Level Up Skate Park in Brick, New Jersey. In that episode, he actually announced that they were moving the skate park. About a month later, which is going back about a week from when this is recorded, he formally announced on his channel that they are moving their skate park. That was, weirdly enough, met with some sort of pushback. Perhaps John will get on the show at some point and we could talk about this again, because I know I've moved skate parks and I've gotten pushback, so there's something to talk about. After John, we had on Michael Reuter, who is a gentleman, a skateboarder in Long Island who desires to open an indoor skate park. He had reached out to me, he had emailed me, and he had asked, I want to ask you some questions about opening a skate park. And I told him, do you want to do it live on a podcast? And he said yes. So that's what we did. He came on and he asked me questions. And most of these questions were really not about the core foundational pieces that go into a skate park. They were more about the types of programs and stuff I do and whether they were lucrative or not. So if you want to open a skate park, not a bad episode to listen to. After that, we had on Josh from the Skate Barn down in North Carolina. The Skate Barn it's been around for 28 years, which is an incredible run for an indoor skate park. The original owner had passed away somewhat recently, and it had changed hands, and Josh had just gotten involved in the skate barn, and they're trying to kind of revitalize the skate barn and keep the dream alive. It's funny how every skate park owner I've talked to on the show always talks about the dream. And because it is. Owning a skate park is a dream. And Josh is in a management role down there at the skate barn in North Carolina. And he's trying to keep the dream alive. So you can check out that episode. That was awesome. After that, we had on Substance Skate Park. Substance Skate Park is a small skate park, and they're actually in Brooklyn, New York. And that was an awesome, really nuanced episode about how hard it is to run a skate park in New York City. It is so different than what I'm doing here. I have 20,000 square feet. He has like 2,000 square feet. I'm mostly selling come in, pay, and ride. And Substance Skate Park is mostly making their money on programs, lessons, and camps. And the logistics of Substance Skate Park operating within New York City throughout COVID was pretty incredible. That was a great episode. Highly recommended it. If you love skate parks and a totally different take on it, that was phenomenal. And then this brings you up to last week's episode where we had Gino Finelli. Gino Finelli is a investigative journalist. He works for WXXI, which is a local NPR affiliate, and he is a longtime skateboarder. So that was I thought that was one of our best shows, because he interviews people for a living. He knows how to answer questions, and there was a great flow and a great conversation, and I had a really good time. So there it is. There's my recap of every episode we've had. Hopefully that wasn't too boring to listen to, And hopefully maybe you jotted down some notes and were like, oh, I'm going to go back and check out this episode or that episode. Whatever. Moving along. Again, if anyone in the chat wants to join the show, feel free to ask a question or request to join live, and we'll bring you right on in. Merch announcement. I'm doing it, guys. I've thought about it for a while. We're going to make it happen. We are bringing back the Make America Skate Again merchandise. Because that's what we're doing. I've decided that in the wake of this downturn in action sports, none of us can really afford to just wait around and hope action sports pick back up. So we need to pick action sports back up. And I've decided that my channel, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, I want my channel to be something people will point to in 5 years and be like, dude, that was the turning point. That was one of the things that started to spread the popularity that got action sports pumping again. So we're going to make America skate again. If you listen to this in post, comment later. What Make America Skate Again apparel do you want? Right now, I'm going to do a run. My thoughts are, I'm going to do a run of the red shirts and the black shirts. We're going to do soft fabric slim tees like we did last time. And probably not going to do hoodies. It's still summer, but we can always bring hoodies back later. The hats were a big hit, but those were beanies. I'm not going to do beanies in August, but we can bring them back later. But I am going to incorporate the Make America Skate Again stuff back into the skate park branding, because that's what we're going to do. We're all going to make America skate again, because we got to. People seem to love a lot of the content I'm doing. My channel growth has been fairly positive, although I have plateaued. There's been a crossing point here where my Facebook is now getting more traction than my Instagram is, when it used to be totally the opposite way. And frankly, I don't care which channel gets the most views and the most engagements, because I'm just trying to grow overall. And if you want to help the channel grow, if you want to help me make America skate again, comment on my stuff and share my stuff. Those are the two things that really help. The more views it gets, the more the algorithm pushes it. And the velocity of comments is something that really helps pump content through the algorithm. So if you want to help grow the channel, share my stuff, comment on everything. Comment anything. I don't even care. Comment what color socks you're wearing. Doesn't matter. I just need a comment. Some of the best stuff I've actually had is not even video content. I've been posting stuff on Facebook, just random pictures of things and getting a discussion going. And I did this post about cool pool coping, and skateboarders love pool coping, and everyone, it was like 250 comments, 110,000 views on one picture because people want to yell about pool coping. It's ridiculous. But engagement farming and Beige rate works. So yeah. If anyone wants to join the chat, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask away in the chat. You may even request to join the show if you would like to have a brief conversation. Everyone gets their 2 minutes of fame if they want it. Otherwise, I'm going to continue down my little show itinerary for episode 100. This is a skill. You guys don't even realize how hard it is to just sit here by yourself and talk to a camera for an hour. It's so bizarre. Talking to a camera is a really weird thing, because if you're good at talking to a camera, it's like cringy. And if you're bad at talking to a camera, it's also cringy. So there's like this weird middle where you're like kind of okay at it that people are, I don't know. Anyway, so new merch, it's coming. I want to talk about my channel growth. when I started doing all my videos back in December, and I decided we're gonna grow this channel, we're gonna reach the masses, we're gonna make America skate again. It worked out really good. I basically doubled my followers. I doubled my followers over about 4 months. I doubled my views and doubled my views. And then I completely plateaued. And everyone I've talked to who's a content creator, who's done this, says, oh yeah, you're going to plateau. And you got to just keep posting, and eventually you'll get through that plateau. It's almost like a test. It's almost like Facebook and Instagram. They want to test you to see if you're willing to keep posting videos when your content dies. For context, for a while, I'm not joking, my channel was getting 100 new followers every single day. Literally every day. It was crazy. And then summer came, and I have gotten about 200 followers in the last 2.5 months. I hit 10,000 followers, and then the channel just flat dropped. And in the last 2.5 months that my Instagram has completely been flat, my Facebook has caught up to Instagram and has passed Instagram. And I recently got a notification from Instagram. No, sorry, I got a notification from Facebook that said, hey, you've consistently posted good quality content. We're boosting your distribution. The day Facebook boosted my distribution, I got 50,000 views in one day, and then the next day 30, and the next day 20. And so I don't know what that even means. And it's so challenging trying to grow social media and ultimately trying to make money on social media because you have no freaking clue. You post a video, one day a video does good, the video does bad. Sometimes a video does good on TikTok, it does terrible on Facebook. Dude, it's so hard. I'm like racking my brain watching, like trying to look through all these analytics to figure out what's the formula that works. And the best thing I got is that, you start a video with a weird question and people get looped in. I think one of the problems with my content is it's almost too good. I'm not making clickbait, mindless, suck you in content. I'm like, most of my content is really good, wholesome, quality content. It's stuff people want to watch. The skate park reviews, the repair videos, the tutorials, it's good. And sadly, on social media, just good video doesn't always do super good. Like, I do well within my followers because my people like this stuff, but it's not quite the right stuff to get into the algorithm and blow up the channel to 250,000 followers. I have to be more clickbaity, I guess, for that. And I don't really want to be clickbaity, but if you watch my content, you'll see there's like a pattern to it where every 2 weeks or so, or at least once a month, I post one video where the vibe is totally different. I'm talking differently. I'm doing like the influencer. I'm more exaggerated about everything because those are the videos where I'm trying to reach the broader audience to loop them in. And I had a couple that did do well. I had a couple videos go 100,000 views that blew up my channel. And then over the last 2 months, I've lost like hundreds of followers because they follow the channel and then they realize, oh, this isn't just like clickbaity nonsense. It's real videos. I don't want real videos. I don't want to learn how to skateboard. I don't want to make America skate again. They're crazy. They're wrong. So it's hard. On top of everything else I'm doing, the content creation is tough, bro. It's fun. I like making videos. I like brainstorming about making videos. Editing them is kind of fun too. But man, you sit down, you upload it to TikTok, it auto makes the captions. You have to make sure the captions, are transposing what you say properly. You don't want to use the generic subtitles everyone else uses because then your videos don't look unique. So then you got to edit those, right? Write a caption, do all the hashtags, copy it, upload it. When I upload it to TikTok, it automatically saves the video with the titles. Then we go to Instagram, do the same thing all over again. Then you go to YouTube, do the same. It's exhausting, really. But someone's got to do it. I don't know if there's anyone out there I don't know of a channel that's out there that is for everything action sports, right? I'm trying to make a channel. I'm trying to make a hub, whether it's bike, scooter, skateboard. Like everyone's going to be interested in watching the videos. Not every video is going to hit every demographic. And there's big BMX channels, there's big skateboarding channels, but I want to make my channels that thing that, again, in 5 years people look back and they go, man, that Breaking Free Skate Park channel, that was, that's what got the thing going again in action sports. But it's not easy. It is not easy. Because kids aren't riding like they used to. They are not. Again, anyone in the chat would like to join, would like to ask questions, fire away. If you'd like to request to join, you can request to join. If you're interested in being a guest on the show in the future, shoot me a message. Literally anyone can be on the show. I'm right now booking out until September. I set aside this particular week for episode 100 because it's a special episode. And I thought a Q&A would be a little more special than having two congruent viewers at a time. Oh, here we go. BMXer Josh. Kids don't ride like they used to because technology is taking over. You're 100% correct. We have lived as millennials, because I'm a millennial. I don't know how old you are, Josh, but we have lived through the decentralization of action sports. We have lived through the transition from the play-based childhood to the phone-based childhood. Kids do not play outside anymore. They play on their phones. I'm actually preparing a video to post that's going to be kind of controversial, but it's actually about the kids and the ADD and the phones. I was listening to a podcast recently, and they said there was a study on children who were clinically diagnosed with ADHD. These kids in the study did a 20-minute walk outside in nature. And that 20-minute walk outside in nature was as effective as a dose of Ritalin. So, Josh here in the chat there, or it says Josh, not Josh, whatever. You're 40 years old. What did you do when you were a kid? Where were you? Bet you were outside. Bet you were in nature. Bet you were using, you were burning energy, right? So if a 20-minute walk outside is as effective as a dose of Ritalin, do kids really have ADD, or are kids being deprived of the play-based childhood they used to have by this technology? And to use a term that Gino brought up in our last episode, he called it, what did he call it? He said it was invasive convenience, right? Convenience has become so invasive, it's gotten to every part of our life where we don't even live because we just, it's more convenient to this, it's more convenient to that. Why? I don't want to go to the skate park, right? It's dangerous. These phones, it's funny because anyone that's watching this right now, you're probably looking at your phone, talking and listening to me talk. These phones are like dopamine death traps, right? They just like suck you in. It's a machine that it depletes your dopaminergic systems into where nothing else feels exciting or fun, and you'd rather just sit there and endlessly scroll. I don't have to go to the skate park. Your 10-year-old nephew, he doesn't have to go to the skate park and ride. He could just look at Instagram videos of people skating. I don't have to learn how to kickflip. Kickflips are hard. I can, it's tough. It's tough. And when I say we, I do mean we. We all need to work together to get kids on skateboards or bikes or whatever. If it's your kids, take away the freaking tablet. Just don't even bring it in the tape. Don't even. It shouldn't even be an option. Get it out of the freaking house. Bring your kid to the skate park. I watch kids all the time. Their parents bring them here, and they're just not into it. They literally just want the tablet because that's all they've been given. It's a cancer. It's literally a cancer. And if Jonathan Haidt has written a book called The Anxious Generation, where he very, very thoroughly documents the correlation between the proliferation of the smartphones, social media, and the forward-facing camera, and how that makes people unhappy and miserable and anxious and depressed. Just look at action sports now versus action sports 20 years ago. 20 years ago, you had a crew. You guys met up. You rode a spot. You went to the skate park, right? You were all somewhere at one place. Maybe you were making a skateboard video. You needed somebody who had a camera, right? You had a crew. Most crews, whether it's bike or skateboard, you would have like one guy with a reliable car, one crazy dude who was great at riding, one dude who was good at like fixing, skateboard, fixing your bike or gripping your board, and one person who was the filmer, who was all about making the videos, right? You don't need a crew anymore. Now in action sports, all you need is a tripod and a phone, and then a couple hundred followers. You don't need it. There's even technologies where the camera will follow you on a drone or on a stick without even really needing a friend to do it. So if we want action sports to proliferate like they used to proliferate, we have to be conscious of how we use these technologies. Because obviously you want to make videos. We all want to. You're literally watching me in a video right now, and it's great for action sports to be able to showcase riders and to showcase impressive riding and creative riding and like the artistic side of riding. But if BMX and skateboarding turns into, I go to the skate park by myself with a tripod, film my stuff alone, sit there in silence by myself and edit it, and then post it in the comments, like BMX and skateboarding are not going to grow like that. BMX and skateboarding are going to just kind of they'll just simmer on the pan, and there's never anything for us to really eat. And that all starts with the kids. This Sunday is my Tykes on Bikes event, and the whole point of that is I'm trying to get parents together who have 3-year-olds, 5-year-olds, who are on the bikes with no pedals, balance bikes. I'm trying to get these parents together so they can become friends, so then these kids can bond and create long-term relationships based around the action sports that they're choosing to do. Because if we can get these kids riding when they're 3, 4, and 5, get them hooked into it before the phone and the tablet really ruin their dopamine system, that's the future. Everyone who's got a skate shop, a skate park, anything right now, that's where we have to go. Like, I know it sounds callous, but the kids who are already 7, 8, 9, 10 now, I don't want to say it's a lost cause, but like it's going to be a hard battle to peel them away from the phones and the devices. That's why we got to start with the young kids. Oh, we have a request for someone to join the show. Get them in here. There's always a delay on this. Hit the button. Oh, what up?
How's it going, man? I like the topic that you're talking about, and being 40 years old and still riding BMX. I'm just getting out of work myself, and what you're talking about is great. I have a 3-year-old daughter who I bought her a balance bike, and every time I go out to go work on my bike, what she do? She grabs her balance bike and is by my side. We don't have her on a tablet, and we're trying to incorporate getting her a 12-inch bike to actually start riding. But as somebody who's 40 years old, I've watched the demographic of action sports change tremendously. Like how you were saying, how you used to have the crew. The crew doesn't exist anymore, and it's become more of a solo-based sport.
I will say that in the scooter scene, you still see crews because scootering is still much smaller, so they kind of need to work together a little bit better. Uh-oh. Looks like we lost him. Oh, he froze up. What's going on? Goddamn Instagram. This technology, dude. Oh, here
Yeah,
we go.
yeah. Sorry, my connection dropped.
It's all good. Yeah, I was just saying that actually in scootering and inline skating, you still see crews because the sports are so small. They kind of need each other to where with like BMX and skateboarding, it seems like they don't need the crew because there is such an online presence.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like for me is I met a local professional flatlander at the age of 15 years old, and he wanted to meet my parents, and he basically introduced me to the realm of the skate park because all I knew before that was getting together with your friends, riding at your local spots, and that was it. And I am forever grateful for that because that took me to make some of the greatest friendships that I've ever made with people. And all that stuff is not replaceable. Like before you had social media at your hands, we used to have BMX board to where you would message the homies to try to, hey, we're coming into town. Like, can we crash on your couch for the weekend? And that's what's one of the things that I really miss the most about the BMX scene.
When I was growing up, my father always had like these crazy stories, like he hitchhiked across the country, did all kinds of crazy stuff. And I always thought, oh, I will never have stories like him. But then, I was just traveling, doing BMX, making videos. And now that I'm older, I think back, I was like, I have some really crazy stories, like, sleeping on the street in Baltimore and riding this spot and like, just crazy stuff. And these are all real life embodied experiences. I was there. I was in the moment. I felt it. I could take the smells. Now it
The
just seems like
instant flashback, yeah.
yeah. Now I think kids are even less likely to have these experiences and do this stuff because like, oh, why do I need to go? Why do I need to drive down to New York City and spend 14 hours pedaling around aimlessly? I could just like pull up a drone video on my phone and like, God, it like breaks my heart.
Well, that's like for me is in you just did a recent review of the world's awesomest skate park in Eastlake, Ohio. That used to be that was my stomping grounds. There used to be a skate park there before that was actually really good. And we rode there for 20 plus years. And I would say at about 25 years old, there was a group of kids that were 13, 14, 15, and they were just getting into riding. And those group of kids now are riders who actually excel at riding. When you're my age or older, when you show up to a skate park and you see the young pups there, the goal is to, if you see them struggling with something, help them out, advise them. Don't do it. I was never taught to like light somebody up. Oh man, you got this when you really don't have it. If you can see that it's in their ability, give them that little bit of confidence to push them that little bit of further because that reward is seeing them smile, them like get excited for landing and learning a trick is one of the greatest rewards that you can ever have.
Yeah, I got two things for you there. One of the biggest things I hear from people at my skate park is they're like nervous when they come in. They're like, "Oh my God, what if I fall? People are going to laugh at me." Or like, "What if I'm in the way?" And I tell them, I'm like, "Dude, no." Everyone is so pumped when someone makes a huge milestone early in their riding progression. Like an experienced rider lands another cool hard trick, whatever. But when like a kid is about to drop in for the first time, like literally everyone at the skate park will be watching. They're all watching, and
Mm-hmm.
when that 7-year old sticks it, everyone's like, yeah, like it's. I got goosebumps talking about it. It's like
Yeah,
those moments.
the rally clap that it's that rally clap, it's that camaraderie, and it bonds everybody together no matter what you're on. You're on a skateboard, you're
Yes.
on a scooter, you're on a bike. It's that group enthusiasm to see somebody trying something and stepping out of their element.
The other thing I was going to bring up is when you said about when you see someone new at the skate park, you want to like, hey, come, like help them out, like make them feel welcome. One of the hurdles that we have within these sports, and I think the best example here is actually the scooter kids. So like play out an example. If there is a guy your age that's skateboarding or whatever at the park, and you see like a 7-year-old come in on a skateboard that has no clue what they're doing, it's a Walmart board, they're getting on it the wrong way, they're pushing Mongo, whatever. That skateboarder is fairly likely to go over to that kid and help them out, right?
Hmm.
But if that kid is on a scooter or on a bike, there's basically a 0% chance that that skater is going to go help them, right?
Right.
We need to basically, drop those walls between the different disciplines and just see, hey, that's a 7-year-old kid who clearly is at the skate park for the first time or is very new to it in general. And we should go talk to him and tell him about etiquette and like talk to his mom and tell his mom so she knows. Like, we have to break down those walls and understand that we're all in it together if we want these sports to keep to
Most,
grow back to
most,
where they used to be.
most definitely. I agree with you that as just in general, skate park etiquette is something. The skate park isn't just a place to drop off your kids as a daycare while you go out and do something. If they're interested in the sport and they truly want to get into it, the people there inside of the park will help them and help them learn, hey, look this way, look that way, double check, triple check, And I think sometimes too for the young kids that can become overwhelming to them, and I think that causes them sometimes to like back away from getting into these action sports.
That's an area where also people in action sports need to be a little more, let's say, organized, right? There's no other um, infrastructure a town would build and then walk away from, right? We all
Mhm.
know, like East Lake, like there's so many times, and the original East Lake, towns build a skate park and then they just walk away. They don't intend to maintain it. They don't build any programs around it. They
Yep.
throw a sign up on the wall and then they forget about it, right? When we get these local parks built or rebuilt or whatever, the local groups need to stay engaged. Like, yes, you got your park built, but now you need to work with that municipality to have programs, to
Yep.
have some sort
Yeah.
of thing. Have because when especially nowadays, if a mom walks up to a skate park and they want to be there, and then there's like a flyer, hey, sign up here on Tuesday. There's a skate park etiquette class or whatever. Like those are things that are really attainable. If your town was willing to build a skate park, I guarantee they're willing to help coordinate programming around that skate park, and then everyone benefits.
Yeah, yeah, that's like what is it here in Paynesville, Ohio? The skate shop that's out here. The group of guys and all of us have been going to the city council meetings, and they're in works about building a new concrete park in 3 phases, and that's because of we had a flood in like 2008. It took away the original Paynesville skate park. They popped something up. The city still sees that people are going to it, and the group that's involved went to the city council and was like, "Hey, the park's falling apart. What can we do? Here," and they gave us some. You gave the guys some guidelines on what we could do, and they fundraised by having a local jam every year, and then one of the major companies in the city ended up donating $150,000 to the cause.
Wow,
So it's something that's been in the works for almost 4 years, and they're expected to break ground here in 2026.
that's awesome. That's awesome. It's just tough because in action sports, it just seems really lame to have programming, right? To have like classes, and a lot of people that advocate to get outdoor parks built, they're oftentimes not the kind of guy that wants to teach a class. They just like really want to have some place to skate.
Hmm.
But the reality is, man, I could talk about outdoor parks so much, but the reality is the vast majority of users of an outdoor park are not even born yet. That park is going to be there for a long time, and most people are only in it for 1 to 3 years, and
Right.
it's usually between the ages of like, let's say between 9 and 15, right? So I just feel like a lot of towns build these parks, and they're not actually thinking about the demographic that's going to use that park most. It's just the people who show up to those few meetings who are really passionate and fiery end up having a lot of input in what gets built, and what gets built isn't always what's really the best for that beginner to intermediate skater, which is going to be basically everyone that uses the park, right?
Right, right. Well, the same thing too is, I myself, when Eastlake was starting to fall apart in 2011, got in contact with the News Herald and tried to gain some traction on, hey, this is what we need. Who, like, the feeler out there, the place needs some help. There's people that still use it, and there was no interest to it. Then flash forward to say 2014, 15, the park was even in more disarray, and we would have a contest up there every year called Brofest. And we had that for about, what was it, 7 or 8 years. And we would build some ramps up there and we would leave them. Well, the city said if we didn't tear down our stuff, that they were going to tear down the whole skate park. We're like, no problem. We'll get up there. We'll clean it up. And through that, we ended up basically becoming our own maintenance and police department of our own skate park. If you guys were here and you were hanging around and doing a bunch of BS, hey, get out of here. This isn't the place for it. We want this to have it for us and have it for other people. And then when stuff would break, we'd start to fix it. And there became a time where we started another group, and we're trying to fundraise money and going to city council meetings. Uh, a couple of my friends were going to captain's games up at the stadium trying to fundraise money. And the city behind us one day just dropped a dumpster, emailed everybody in the middle of the afternoon and said they were tearing down the skate park. That whole ordeal was my first experience with like gaslighting from a city saying, "Oh, we're going to be there for you. We're going to help you out." And then, like you said in your video, that ramps that are there now, that was something that once we found out that was going to be in process through the technical center, we tried to step in and said, "Hey, we don't want to see you guys waste the money. We were trying to fundraise before. How can we go about helping? It's only for the students, students only, no outside help." It basically shut everybody down, and it really burned the bridges of all of us that have been trying to clean, maintain, police, and try to revitalize the skate park.
What's tough about that is with the amount of money it really takes to build an outdoor park, you basically cannot fundraise enough money to do it. The
Yeah.
fundraising is really just, it's like an optics game to get, whoever are the key stakeholders, whoever are the people voting and deciding to see, okay, wow, look at the momentum they have going, right? This is a thing where people don't, especially in the skate park world, people don't understand that they have to like play by the rules because the rules suck. And as skateboarders and whatnot, like we don't like the rules, right? But the work I've done, the advocacy work I've done in shared use trails, or actually in the disc golf world, is like you basically have to get politicians to somehow think that building a skate park is going to garner them votes, right? And that's part of what the fundraising is. If they say, "Oh, if we
Mm-hmm.
raised 100 grand," they go, "Well, there must be 100 grand worth of voters," right? And then
Right.
the politicians can put pressure on the people that work at the town, parks department, or whatever it may be, to ultimately try to get these places built. And unfortunately, no matter how passionate you are, no matter how much money you can raise, no matter how much momentum you have, there could be one person that works in your municipality who's not about it, and it will never get built. Like
Right.
you
Yep.
literally have to find someone, an ally, who's on the inside that can figure out where that linchpin is and who's the right person and who's the one that hates it or who's the one that likes it. What's the right angle, and everything goes from there. And
Yep.
if you're
Yep.
if you're just a ragtag bunch of people trying to crowd fundraise, it's sadly it's just never going to happen because you have to play the stupid game that these municipalities play if they
Yep.
want to have anything happen.
Well, like one of the things that we were trying to pitch while we were trying to fundraise was the the people that come in from outside of the community, the stores and surrounding businesses that would be end up losing that extra income from kids going to ride their bikes up there to grab drinks, to the McDonald's down the street, the people to grab food. All the small surrounding businesses were going to take a hit, like, and trying to also present that as it's not just beneficial to the city, it's beneficial to everything around the city.
100%. I see. I had someone else requested to join. We'll see if they're still here and want to come in. But yeah, the tourism thing is something that it's a big sell to the municipalities. You got to be like, oh, we got this many people coming. Oh, it's Josh from the skate barn.
What's up, homie?
What do you
How
got
are you
going
doing,
on?
man?
How's it
Not
going, man?
much, man. Yo, very much appreciate all the conversation you guys have going on. I love it.
Hell yeah,
Like
hell yeah, dude.
it's absolutely correct. Like getting parks built and support from municipalities and just support from local people is so tough. My only input and things that I've found that has been very helpful to me is like focusing on building the community. Like we can go to different government meetings, we can go this and we can raise money to get concrete put down, do this and do that. A thing that's really worked for me in my local area is just focusing on building the community, making it feel like that kid who just dropped in, they're a part of something. Not only did they just not
Yeah.
accomplish something, they're a part of something. They are a part of something bigger than themselves, and passing that on to the next generation, and like that culture, that community, like the raising of funds and the raising of money, it's it's a never ending process. Like we can always, whether it's a private park, whether it's the barn breaking free, or just trying to get your local municipality to put down some concrete, like that's always going on. But like if you can find that kid or you can find that individual and you can foster them and make them feel like they're a part of something, like we all have felt like we were a part of something and are a part of something, and inviting them into that community and inviting them into that culture, that's when they get hooked. And the more people that you are able to do that, that's the money line, in my opinion.
I
So
think
it's
that's
like,
a much easier sell nowadays because it's aged in, right? Like we're probably all about in that 40 range here. And so many
yeah,
of the people who work in these municipalities now, like if you grew up in high school in, let's say, anywhere in the late 90s and early 2000s, you grew up in an environment where skateboarding was fairly ubiquitous. It was actually, it peaked pretty high around 2000. So now, when these people are getting into local government, it's not a weird thing, right? If you go
right,
back to
Right, right.
the year 2000 when the first wave of skate parks came around, everyone that was in power then was in high school in like the late 70s, and they're like, what the, they don't care, they don't know, right? So I think it's going to continually get easier and easier to build outdoor parks, and we're seeing that up where I live, because now we have a couple, because there was none up here up until fairly recently. So a lot of these people that work in towns that don't know what a modern decent skate park looks like,
Right.
they now do. They can go to the downtown park in Rochester and go, wow, look at this. It's it's got like design to it. There's like, oh, it's blue and yellow and it matches the canal locks and blah blah. Oh, I get it now. You know, so I think the more you get, the easier they are to get. But if you live somewhere where there's no skate parks, or all you have is that one rough one that got built in 2000 has never been touched, it's a
Mhm.
hard sell. And to go back to my original point, like you got to find that one person who works for your town, who
Yeah.
cares, who can be your inside point, your
Well,
point of
what
access.
what is it? That's like if you look up in Ellicottville, New York, where Daly City Train is, the community that the gentleman and his wife that are running that small little 5013C, they got a little skate park. It's donation based. If you don't have any money, still come in and ride. You're welcome. Their community and the push that they had led to them getting a concrete skate park right outside or right around the corner from where their little indoor place is. And to see that happening, that's inspiring, and I wish there was more of that out there. And I see the potential of that, like how you're saying, more of the people in the generation that are in office now understand or can coincide with, hey, that's going to bring in kids. That's going to be good. That's going to be beneficial for our area. Let's try and roll with it versus, oh, we don't need that in our town. We don't need to lose our skate parks to pickleball courts on a monthly basis because it happens all the time.
I helped them get insurance down in Ellicottville. They reached out to me and they were having trouble, so I helped them. And second, that Ellicottville Outdoor Park is awesome. I have a skate park review video of that already edited. I haven't posted it yet. It is awesome.
The few times that we've went there, it's been in the winter, so it's been covered in snow, so I haven't gotten even to see it yet. I'm excited to make it back up there.
It's small and simple and has some really awesome design features that are like glaring issues in many other parks I go to. Like,
I think that's key. Like some of the most fun skate parks I've been to recently. Like so, I live down in Wilmington, North Carolina. So I'm down on the coast here, southeast North Carolina. And some of the most fun public parks that I've been to recently in our local area are just what I would almost consider micro parks, but they're designed well. They weren't expensive to the town, but they're perfect. There's
Hmm.
one in Oak Island, and then about 2 hours inland, there's one in Hillsborough. And the footprint of the park itself isn't big, but the design aspect of it is just perfect. Perfect flow, perfect features, all different kinds, everything you would want from transition to street. But the town probably, I don't know the exact figures on what each town paid for them, but compared to what might end up being close to $1 million park, these can't be that. But they're better than the $1 million parks that I've been to. So just like having the proper design, having the proper community input, and these little micro parks that you can just put in that just have good flow, good circular rotation, back and forth, and all sorts of different aspects, street transition, etc. Like I think that could potentially be the future that you could pitch to these uh, different government organizations where it's like, I'm not asking you for exorbitant amount of money. Let's get a nice, small, micro park that is done properly by one of the reputable builders that has everything to offer. Doesn't have to have the 12-foot vert ramp. Doesn't have to have the crazy bowl that takes up half of the budget. We just need a park that caters to the beginner, but also suits the advanced rider. And a smaller
Well
footprint,
said.
I had such a good experience with multiple parks, and they've honestly become some of my favorites in this area.
I got two things for you there. One is the smaller your town is, the easier it's going to get built. Um, so up here, we're right in the city, right? So everything you do in a bigger city, there's feasibility studies, there's environmental studies, and if there's like some sort of hiccup, they have to go back to it. A lot of times there's remediation, which just means they have to take the dirt somewhere else, and that all goes up with cost. Our skate park in Rochester is under the bridge downtown, I-490, and I-490 it's interstate, so it's owned by the state. So everything in our project had to go from the city to the state to get approval,
Ooh,
back to the city.
a lot of
Literally every single step of the process had to bounce back and forth. So it's harder to do it in a big city. The
Yeah.
other point I was going to bring up is the size thing. Yeah, you're 100% correct. We don't need these big, massive parks, right? If you go around, just compare it to soccer fields, baseball fields, whatever, football fields. You go to some towns and they got like this nice AstroTurf football field with stadium like seating and blah blah blah. Other places just paint some lines in the ground, right? Some places we have 16 soccer fields. Some have two, right? Not every town needs to go crazy. You just need, little, 4,000 square foot, put it over there, not a problem. I think less is more, I think, in many cases.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of the selling points too, with today's modern day is if you can incorporate a small pump track into your skate park design, that draws in not just skateboarders, it draws in your skaters, your bikers, your mountain bikers. Everybody can ride on that. And incorporating a small pump track within size a medium to small skate park is a very good
Yes.
selling point, I feel, to your municipalities to go, hey, it's more than just a skate park.
I back that.
It's
Heavily.
very accessible. I talk about accessibility a bunch in my videos, and sometimes the more core riders are like, what the hell do you mean accessibility? A very mellow, easy pump track is so accessible. Almost anyone can show up and go, wee, right? That
Hmm.
feel of the wind in your hair, like that's what we need. You need those first gains to be achievable,
Yep.
and then from there, everything proliferates.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna get going, guys. It was good chatting
Cool.
with you. Appreciate the conversation. I'll talk with you later.
Thanks, Josh. Thank you very much.
Later.
But
Wait, so
I,
you're both Josh.
yeah, dude,
We have
two
two
Joshes.
Joshes.
How
Wow,
about that?
that's crazy.
Works out all right.
Is it warm down there?
Dude, you have no idea. It's been like 110 heat index for the past 2 weeks. Inside the barn has been, actually, it's nicer inside of the barn than outside of the barn. Because we have an outdoor section. I don't even know if I talked to you about that last time I talked to you.
You didn't
We
tell
got
me, but I did see
yeah,
that online.
yeah, we got an indoor section and an outdoor section. In the evening, it's been nicer outdoors, but during the day in the shade, like underneath the actual rafters, has been nicer.
Were
Dude, this
you
thing.
were you working at the park today?
Not today. I was doing my real job,
Mm.
landscaping, which
Oh,
was
that's fun.
much harder.
Yeah, I had exactly one rider today at the skate park. It's probably 86 today for up here. This is like really hot.
That sounds incredible to me.
Yeah,
It was rainy all day here today, so it was about that temperature. But man, for the past month, it's been feels like 100 degrees every single day, guaranteed.
dude, I had
But
summer camp last week, and it was just like 90 all week long. Just being in this goddamn building for 12 hours when it's 90 degrees is like,
it was rough. But
dude, it
I
just
will say,
drains.
shout out to the barn rats. They've been coming out, and I've been seeing everyone's been getting after it down here. It's been incredible. Like
Hell yeah.
salute. I'm trying to do my best after my real job, getting after it all day myself. But man, people are still making it happen. It's good.
It's sorry, it's really hard to ride after doing physical labor all day. You're so drained.
Rough, but honestly, like most of the time when I go up, like what I was touching on earlier, most of my work at the skate barn, it's like I don't go up there to skate. Like you don't. When you're working, you're not necessarily riding yourself, but like I've been doing just different community or like events and stuff like that. Like last night we had been calling it Twos for Tuesdays, and I get a small grip of $2 bills and I bring my camera up there, and when someone lands a trick, I take a photo of it. I give them a $2 bill. I run back into the pro shop, edit the photo, and then email or airdrop it to them before they leave. So they leave
Awesome.
with a $2 bill, which is a slight rebate on the price they paid to come skate. And then they also get a keepsake of what they did that day. And been getting incredible community support. And it's cool because, like, I had questions whether or not people would think it was corny or not. But we have some core riders coming up looking to get some photographs who aren't as interested in $2 bills. And then we have brand new riders, like 7, 8 year olds who are coming up and they're like, $2 bill makes their day. They feel like they're a professional. So the barn was as packed as it's been on a Tuesday night in months. So it was very, very encouraging. And I think that harkens back to what I was talking about earlier, where it's like, just my main focus is obviously we got to meet bottom lines, and back to what we were talking about, you got to get the money to build your public skate parks and this and that. But I think community building and continuing on the culture, like the next BMX dude who's 10 right now, I want him to go sleep on the streets of Baltimore the same way you did. I lived in Baltimore for 3 years. I
Oh,
want him
cool.
to experience that. Like that's when I look at these younger riders as I've advanced in my age. Like I don't want to sleep on the streets anymore, but I want you to have that story that you can tell, and I want you to experience the same culture that I experienced. So I think like
Yep.
it's up to us individuals who are kind of more advanced in our years here within the scene to make sure that they don't not only have a place to do it, but understand what it means to do it and the culture and the community behind that. So like that's been like one of my main focuses. I've always been bad with money. Money doesn't mean nothing to me. And it's like that's terrible to say, but like my main focus is like, how can I make sure that that 7-year-old kid who's coming up to the park or that I meet at the public skate park, how can they experience the same trips and the same culture and the same reality that I had? Like that's what I'm really mainly focused on. Because like I don't own the skate park, I manage it. So like the money issue, like I got to make sure we make it, but it doesn't fully affect my livelihood. So I feel like making sure that people have a place of community that they can come to as that hub will generate that revenue. So that's been one of my main focuses recently. So when I
I,
heard you guys talk about that, that's where my mind was going. I'm like, we got to not just get the money for it, but we got to make sure people understand and get the experiences. Because once you get those experiences sleeping on the streets of Baltimore by choice, the best stories and the best memories of your life.
I'm so aware of the lasting memories, the lasting impressions that people will have from coming to places like this or from going and doing things like you mentioned. I can't tell you how many kids I have told over the years to just go to New York City. You know, up here in Rochester, we're about a 4 or 5 hour drive down to New York City. And I just say, hey, get in your freaking car, drive down there, and just ride around. It's unlike anything you'll ever experience in your life. If anyone in the chat has ever skated or rode around New York City, Lower Manhattan, it's crazy. If you've never been to New York City, you have no clue. Like up here in Rochester, we're in the city, but the city's like 6 blocks wide. New York City is unreal. Anyone else have any? We lost Josh there. So anyone else in the chat have any questions? Feel free to ask away. You may request to join the show if you would like to talk personally. We're going to do maybe another 10, 15 minutes here before we're going to wrap it up tonight. Thank you for everyone who's joining. Thank you for all the questions. Thank you to all of the 30 plus guests we've had going back to December. And thank you to God, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes I think the only reason the skate park's here is because there's some higher power that wants it to keep persisting. Because I've been hanging on by a goddamn thread since COVID. And every single year I keep saying, I cannot do this another year. And every year I manage to keep the dream alive. And that brings me to my last topic for today's show. And I will talk about this. And if no one else wants to join or ask a question, we're going to end on this. I'm talking about the long-term plans for this skate park. Now, this channel, this content creation I do, is probably going to outlast the skate park. Basically, where I'm at right now is at the end of this coming winter, this coming March or April, unless for some reason things go crazy and we have a great winter and we make money for the first time in 6 years. But if that, let's presume that doesn't happen. At the end of this coming winter, I'm most likely announcing that I will do a 1-year countdown until when I close the skate park. Now, I don't want to close the skate park, but that would get me to 10 years, and 10 years was always my goal in running the skate park. So if we fast forward to this coming April, I will probably start a countdown, 12 months, 11 months, 10 months. And over the duration of that 1 year, what we're going to be doing is still posting videos, still doing podcasts, still growing the channel, but we're going to start the hunt to try to find the next person that will take this and keep the dream alive. And by take this, I mean I will basically sell the skate park to whoever wants it for almost nothing if I could find the right person that's going to keep the dream alive. Because I've carried this at this point almost 9 years. My goal is 10 years. After I've carried the torch for 10 years, I think that's enough. And it would be about time for me to focus on my family, because I've carried the torch, and it's not a light torch. It's tough. I work a lot of hours. I don't make any money. And I have a 1-year-old daughter, And it's really stressful to have to run essentially 3 businesses to bring home no money just to keep the skate park alive. So hopefully, over the course of the next year and a half, we can find the right person who is willing to take this on. That person will basically have to make their own LLC. That person will basically get their own tax ID number, resale certificate, sign their own lease, change the sign to the name of whatever they want to call the skate park, and then that's their skate park. It's literally like, I'm not trying to get rich. I'm not trying to. My ego is not tied into the skate park. I'm not trying to sell it for a lot of money. The starting offer would be pretty freaking low. I literally just want to keep the dream alive. So that's kind of where my mind's at. Again, a year after this coming winter, I'll probably announce a 1-year countdown, and during that 1 year, try to find someone who might be willing to buy the skate park. And by I mean, this is a 22,000 square foot skate park. The rent is about $10,000 a month. I'm paying about $12,000 a year in insurances. It's a really tight margin business, but for the right person, if there's a family that wants to buy it, where like they have their kids working here, they could spread out all that workload. It's feasible. It doesn't make a lot of money, but it is a labor of love, and I'm confident we can find the right person to keep the dream alive. Because I would be more heartbroken that there wouldn't be a skate park in Rochester than I would be heartbroken to no longer have this as my skate park. And if someone else takes it over, I will gladly work for free or in exchange for free ride time to help with whatever they need. And if someone wants to take over the skate park, I will basically liaison them for a year. I will literally, Men in Black 1, you could be Will Smith, I could be Tommy Lee Jones, and I will teach you all the ins and outs of everything of how it works. Hopefully, whoever this person comes in that wants to take over the skate park, hopefully they're smarter than me. Hopefully they can find new ways to take this to a new level, or to find new efficiencies, or, maybe they show up and they have money to put into the skate park to rebuild and find some new features that can attract audiences that maybe I'm not attracting right now. Maybe they want to downsize the skate park, cut the rent down. I don't know what it is, but that's the plan. And as far as I'm concerned, when I get to my 10 years of owning the skate park and I close up doors, I will probably continue to use all these channels to keep advocating for action sports. I will do more events, and I will continue to interview people and make content. No problem. Josh is in the chat, and he said summer storm messed up his connection. Power outage. Sometimes it'd be like that. So, I mean, frankly, at 10 years, to own a skate park for 10 years and to close and to leave on your terms and to not go into debt would be absolutely legendary status as far as skate parks go. My skate park has lasted longer than any skate park in Rochester's history, and Rochester's skate park history is possibly the richest skate park history in any city in America. I don't know of anywhere that has the depth of skate parks that Rochester has had, going back to the 90s with Spinners and Extremes and Scuffs and Extremes 2 and Horizon and Extreme Sports Park and RASP and BFS and that other one in Henrietta. You're talking about 8 skate parks. It's crazy. Yeah, Luke, question in the chat. Yeah, after hopefully, say everything goes perfect, I do my 10 years, I close the skate park, I find someone who wants to take it off my hands and keeps the dream alive. Basically what I will do is I will take, I opened in 2016, I will take all my Breaking Free Skate Park branded stuff, and I will take all of that. I will take my podcast studio, my photo, video equipment, all of my bike shop and bike related stuff. I will take all of that out, and they can get everything else. And I would open a bike shop, a small repair bike shop, and that would be what I would do in the future. Now, let's say hypothetically, when I plan my closing the skate park in 10 years. If I cannot find someone that wants to take it over, I would start looking for a second location. And what I would do is open a smaller multi-use facility that would be, we'd have some ramps, the bike shop, have a space that could be rented out to do other things like a yoga studio, Pilates or something or other. Maybe have it as a venue to do shows, art shows, music shows, kind of a really continue to bring the community together, but in a space that's used more. Because the reality is this, I'm paying $10,000 a month for this space, and in this space, the majority of the time, it's just sitting here with the lights off. I'm just paying for it, and that's stupid. So whatever I do after this, if it still involves skate park related stuff, it would be something where for as many hours as possible, for as many days as possible, it would be generating some sort of revenue that's also community building. Who says I'm gay? So if no one else has any questions in the chat, I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you, everyone. Episode 100. This is crazy. Thank you to all of our guests we've had. I listed in the beginning of the show. Thank you for everyone who joined the show tonight. And thank you, Luke, for your question. So, I'll see you guys at the skate park later, and keep grinding.